Okay, picture this. You're looking at the ancient world, and you see two groups of people. The Hmong, mostly high up in the mountains, Southeast Asia, Laos, Vietnam,
Right.
Thailand,
Right.
and then way over, the Mongols, Central Asia, East Asia, empires on horseback. They seem totally disconnected.
Completely different worlds on the surface.
So how could these people, separated by, well, thousands of miles, centuries of history, how could they possibly share some ancient heritage? That's the big question today.
It's a fascinating puzzle, isn't it? And that's exactly what we're trying to do in this deep dive. We want to take these whispers, these sort of hints of a shared past that echo across the Eurasian steppe, and really give you the core ideas, the essentials to grasp this possibility. And we're drawing all this from the fantastic research shared over on the website, A Bus on a Dusty Road.
Yeah, because that initial contrast, it's stark. You think Hmong, you picture maybe intricate farming, those amazing, vibrant textiles, communities tucked away in the mountains.
Exactly. Deeply rooted in that specific kind of landscape. And then the Mongols, well, the image is so different. It's vast open plains, right? A Genghis Khan's incredible empire, speed, power, people really defined by the horse and the huge dry grasslands of Central Asia.
Worlds apart, environmentally, politically. Everything seems different.
It really does seem that way.
So, okay, if they look so different, what's the key thing? What's the stage that even allows us to think about a connection?
Well, the setting itself, it has to be the Eurasian steppe. You really can't just dismiss it as empty land. This huge stretch of grassland, Eastern Europe, all the way across to Mongolia. It was like the ancient world's highway. A massive crossroads, a cradle for so many nomadic empires. It facilitated movement, interaction, constantly. For thousands of years, if people were moving across Eurasia, chances are they were using the steppe.
So it's this massive pathway, weaving together the early stories of lots of different groups.
Yeah.
Including maybe the ancestors of the Hmong and Mongols?
Precisely. Long before their known histories took shape.
Okay, let's try and unpick that. The migrations, because their later histories look like they split off completely. Hmong origins often trace back to southern China, right? Before this really long, centuries-long move south.
That's the general understanding, yeah. A slow, steady migration, often into mountains, maybe seeking autonomy, preserving their culture.
It feels like a story of quiet resilience, adapting over generations.
It really does. And then you contrast that sharply with the Mongols. Early 13th century, Genghis Khan. Boom. Rapid conquest. Huge political change.
Right. Not seeking refuge, but building this enormous empire. Europe to the Sea of Japan.
Exactly. And their whole success, their whole model was built on mastering that flat steppe environment with horseback warfare. Completely different strategy.
So yeah, one path south through mountains, the other, this huge sweep across open plains. But Are you saying that before all that, maybe much earlier, their paths might have crossed or run parallel on that bigger Eurasian stage?
That's the idea. Before they were the distinct groups we recognize today, their ancestral populations were likely dealing with the same massive environment, the steppe, or at least its edges. Both would have needed strategies for survival, for moving, for building communities when things got tough. It's that shared ancestral landscape, maybe some early interactions, that could explain the cultural echoes we still see.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. Moving beyond the map and into, identity.
Yeah.
What specific cultural things have survived all this time and separation that might point back to a shared root?
Well, we see some striking overlaps, especially in, say, three main areas. First, traditional clothing and adornment.
Okay, like the textiles.
Well, yes, the intricate embroidery is notable in both, that vibrant use of color, but also specifically the importance of silver.
Silver. Interesting. Why silver?
Think about it. If you're moving around a lot, silver is portable wealth. You can carry it easily. But it's also more than just money. It often had and has symbolic weight. Used in shamanic practices, protective amulets, things like that.
That makes sense. Practical and symbolic. Easy to carry, important for rituals. Okay, what else?
Second, spirituality. The sources really emphasize shared shamanic traditions being quite central in both cultures.
Shamanism.
Yeah, and not just a general belief in nature spirits, but a specific kind of cosmology. The shaman acts as this vital go-between, connecting the human world and the spirit world for healing, for guidance, for keeping the community in balance. That deep link to ancestors and the spirits of the land, it's fundamental in both.
But hang on, lots of older cultures across Eurasia, like Siberia, parts of China, had shamanic traditions, didn't they? What makes the Mongol connection stand out here?
That's a fair point. It's perhaps about how central and how persistent it remained, and its connection to the third point, oral tradition and storytelling. The shaman was often the keeper of these stories.
Oh, okay.
And both cultures have these incredibly powerful, epic storytelling traditions passed down for generations. Now, the details change. Obviously, Hmong epics might focus more on navigating mountain passes, Mongol epics on conquering vast territories.
Right. Different settings.
But the core themes, they resonate. Migration, survival, endurance, the absolute importance of sticking together, community strength, lineage. These are the blueprints they carried in their heads no matter where they ended up physically.
That's compelling. The stories themselves carry the connection. Okay, but let's tackle the elephant in the room. Language. Hmong languages. Mongolic languages. They're from totally separate major language families. That sounds like a big hurdle for a shared heritage idea.
It is a major difference, and we absolutely have to acknowledge that. The Hmong family is distinct, maybe originated south of those main steppe roots, but, and this is the key, some historical linguists suggest there might have been ancient interactions.
Okay, what kind of interactions?
Think of it less like sharing a direct ancestor language and more like maybe being neighbors thousands of years ago. Ancient contact through trade, maybe conflict, maybe living near each other for a time could have left traces. Loan words, maybe some structural influences that you wouldn't expect given how far apart they are now. It hints at contact, even if the main language families branched off way, way back.
So, linguistic echoes, not a direct line. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears to the hard science, genetics. What are haplogroups telling us?
Yeah, this is probably the most exciting frontier right now. First, maybe just quickly explain haplogroups. For anyone listening, think of them like genetic signposts. Tiny, stable changes in our DNA, often passed down the male or female line.
Like ancestry markers.
Exactly. They let scientists map out huge human migrations over millennia, like family crests, but tracing deep ancestry across time and geography.
Got it. So what are these genetic signposts showing in this case?
Well, recent studies have found some really intriguing overlaps. Similarities in specific haplogroups found in both Hmong and Mongol populations. For instance, certain markers common across East Asia, but found at particularly high rates among Mongolic peoples, markers linked to haplogroup C3, for example.
Right.
They also show up in studies of Hmong populations, maybe more than you'd expect just by chance.
So that suggests
What?
a common ancestral pool before they split off geographically.
That's the implication. Genetic echoes suggesting a shared root population that existed before the big divergence we see in recorded history.
Wow, that's potentially huge. Genetic proof of ancestry predating written records. Now, obviously, the sources say more research is needed. You can't jump to definitive conclusions.
Absolutely. Caution is needed.
But just finding that signal, it really opens the door, doesn't it, to understanding this much deeper genetic tapestry.
It really does. And archaeology kind of backs this up, too, especially findings from the edges of the steppe, discoveries of, similar types of tools, pottery styles, burial practices.
Artifact.
Yeah. Artifacts, plus mapping old settlement patterns, trade routes. It all hints at possible contact between the ancestors of these groups during key historical periods. It might help link the early Hmong migration routes back towards those central plains.
Okay, so we have cultural echoes, linguistic hints, genetic signals, some archaeological clues. Yet, you mentioned it's still complex. If we have all these pieces, what's the biggest roadblock to drawing a clear, definite line connecting them historically?
I think the biggest challenge is just the nature of studying nomadic or semi-nomadic peoples in deep history. They don't tend to leave behind massive stone cities, right?
Less permanent traces.
Exactly. And the Eurasian steppe is just immense. Evidence is scattered, often buried, hard to find, plus early written records, often non-existent or written by settled empires about the barbarians on their borders, so they're biased.
So lots of missing pieces.
Definitely, significant missing pieces, but that's what makes the ongoing research in genetics and linguistics so vital. They're trying to fill those gaps.
So let's bring this forward. What does all this mean for people listening today? This isn't just some dusty historical debate, is it? This potential connection, it touches on modern identity for both Hmong and Mongol communities.
Oh, absolutely. Understanding these possible ancient roots, seeing your heritage not as isolated, but as part of this vast, interconnected human story that can foster a really profound sense of pride and belonging. It reframes identity in a much broader global context.
And there's real value in exploring this shared history now, right? In promoting understanding between cultures that might seem worlds apart today.
Huge value. It encourages cultural exchange, mutual respect. When you learn about the incredible resilience needed to survive the steppe, the migrations, you gain respect for that shared human capacity to adapt. And things like festivals, art projects, educational programs that explore this shared heritage, they're so important for dialogue, for connection.
It really feels like their paths, the migrations, the culture, the language hints, the genetics, they twist and turn, but they might actually intertwine in ways that make us rethink human connection itself. Borders seem so solid now, but ancestry, that's ancient and maybe more shared than we think.
Well said.
So here's something for you to chew on, a final thought. If two peoples, separated by so much geography today, can still carry these shared echoes of silver, of shamanism, of survival stories, what does that really tell us about the incredible resilience and maybe the astonishing reach of our very earliest human journeys? We really hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity. You can find the research we talked about and a lot more on history, travel, life, sailing, expat, living, all viewed through the lens of living life as a global citizen over on the website, A Bus on a Dusty Road. Yeah, come join the community. And to stay in the loop with all the new insights and stories, definitely sign up for the newsletter. Oh, and check out the A Bus on a Dusty Road YouTube channel, too, for videos related to our deep dives and travels.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, embrace that huge and amazing tapestry of human history. Until next time.